everybody, and welcome to the show. We like to call it Pancrase, Legends of Mixed Martial Arts. I'm your host, Rob Wu, and sitting alongside me all season is our expert analyst, Josh, the babyface assassin Barnett.
So what do we got in store this week here, Rob?
Well, before we go to the fights, Josh, a lot of these fight fans might be wondering, what are you up to nowadays? So tell us a little bit, what are you doing?
Well, I'm up to about 6'3", as per usual. Haven't gotten any shorter. And recently I've been training a lot of fighters and helping them in their fights. Of course, some folks are very familiar with me and Megumi Fuji, and I've been helping her. She just recently had a fight in Bodog up in Vancouver. Also, I've got another student, Janelle Marquez, should be fighting for a title sometime soon. So, and Shayna Baszler will be hopefully competing on Showtime coming up. So, keeping very busy. And my trainer, Eric Paulson, also is coming out of retirement to face Jeff Ford in an upcoming bout.
He's so busy, and you still got time to hang out with me.
Lucky me, lucky me. You know, few can be so fortunate as to understand and get to know that which is the internal workings of Wu.
Blood type O, which means he's a universal donor. Very kind and giving guy. But let's move on to the fights. Satoshi Hasegawa, Kim Jong-Wang, our first bout. Now, Josh, you know what it's like to break barriers. You're the first Caucasian male on Asia TV. Kim Jong-Wang, the first Korean in Pancrase.
Yeah, Wang didn't happen to have the most luck out of all the Pancrase fighters, as you know. Here he comes, sort of a relative newcomer to the sport, and yet fought a lot of very, very tough matches straight on. But here against Hasegawa, I think this is a good opportunity for Wang to make a good impression.
And it is Wang's second fight. Let's see how he does.
Satoshi Hasegawa versus Kim Jong-Wang.
And Kim Jong-Wang, if you don't know who he is, well, he's the bigger guy, a huge size advantage, Josh. He's 6'1", 238. Hasegawa, just 5'9".
Yeah, Wang here is certainly the much bigger fighter, but I would expect that Hasegawa is probably the more well-rounded fighter out of the two of them.
Both fighters back in the center of the ring.
Palm strike by Hasegawa. Kim follows up with a right middle kick and a big palm strike of his own. Hasegawa diving low ankle takedown.
And as you can see right there, Josh, the size differential between both fighters staggering. As we move on in the fight, now Hasegawa on top, rear mounting Kim.
Looking for that sleeper and happened to catch what actually looked like a face lock on Wang. And Kim having to take a rope escape, now down 2-0.
And Hasegawa not letting size be a factor yet, taking an early lead. And Kim now working on the ankle of Hasegawa.
Dropping in on that Achilles. Hasegawa attacking with the toe hold instead.
And this fight is over. Wang taps out. Hasegawa, the much smaller man, but in this case, it didn't matter.
Well, for Kim, this is a little bit of the example of don't bring a knife to a gunfight, with the knife being the Achilles lock and the gun being the toe hold. So sort of trumping, one hold trumping the other, and that shows the inexperience of Kim, I think.
Now, Hasegawa did win the fight, the ankle lock, 340 in the first round. But Josh, Hasegawa passed away in '99, and the circumstances of his death not too clear.
Yeah, the way I was to understand it is that he fell off of a balcony. Unfortunately, I don't know if he was intoxicated or just an accident. But it's very sad event indeed, and I would have liked to have seen how Hasegawa would have developed into a fighter at this point now.
All right, let's move on to our next fight. We're going to see Takafumito against Osami Shibuya. What are your first impressions of these two?
Both are Ito has a little bit of an advantage of being in Pancrase longer than Shibuya, but Shibuya is going to have the size advantage. And like I've been pointing out from the various previous Shibuya matches we've seen, the guy, regardless of his record, he's showing a lot of skill and a lot of talent. And Shibuya is actually one of the guys that I've kept an eye on all the way up until now even.
All right, let's see if Shibuya could get the best of Ito.
Takafumito versus Osami Shibuya.
And Shibuya, his record is 5-9-2, but as you say, Josh, his talent and skills aren't well reflected in that record.
Yeah, here he is coming up against Ito. I want to see Ito's recovery against that big knockout from Kunioku. Last fight we saw, still really reeling from that against the ever-tough Takahashi. And let's see if he's finally gotten over that devastating knockout and can display some stand-up skills here against Shibuya.
And Ito in the yellow, Shibuya in the green color.
Nice double leg with an outside trip is Shibuya, putting the match on the mat and inside Ito's guard.
As we move on in the fight, it looks like...
last 30 seconds here, Shibuya working a front face lock on Ito. Ito getting his head free. Last 20 seconds.
Ito standing up, trying to throw some palm strikes while Shibuya is down.
Scoring good with a nice right palm strike there inside the guard. Last 10 seconds, I think Ito is really just trying to give a good example to the judges and maybe find a way to pull out of this match with the judge's decision.
And this fight will go to the judge, and in disgust, Ito throws his mouthpiece to the ground. Now, this match ended up in a draw, Josh. Did you see it like that?
You know, I guess if you're not going to give as much credence to the strikes as you were to all the different submission attempts, I could easily see how it could be considered a draw. You know, none of those strikes were certainly anything that was going to end the fight anytime soon, and that's really what you got to look for in a fight, and especially in Pancrase. It's who's looking to finish the fight most and who's being aggressive, who's really pushing to end the fight now, not just right out of decision or to make it just look good.
All right, in our next fight, we're going to see Katsumi Inagaki against Keiichiro Yamamiya. Now, Yamamiya, Josh, a fighter a lot of us haven't seen yet. But what's the scouting report on this guy?
Yamamiya, he comes from a wrestling background, but happens to be a decent puncher, a southpaw, and you know, a very tough, grizzled fighter. Mixes it up between standing and ground, but his submission game not the most developed.
All right, let's see how he fares against Inagaki.
Katsumi Inagaki versus Keiichiro Yamamiya.
Fight! As we both start out, Inagaki in a little bit of a slump. He's lost 6 of his last 7 fights, so definitely looking to rebound. And Inagaki has a lot more ring experience, Josh. He's already had 23 fights. Yamamiya has only 3.
Yamamiya there on the right side of your screen. What seems to be, well, the colors are relatively close, but it looks like in the blue trunks.
I guess you can tell Yamamiya is the guy with the shorter hair.
Yes.
Inagaki has more hair now on the right side of your screen.
Inagaki leading with an inside low kick. As I said before, Yamamiya a southpaw.
Inagaki also bigger, 6 feet, 203 pounds. Yamamiya just 5'11" and 185.
Yamamiya, early on in his career here, not showing the punching that he is known for as in his later Pancrase bouts. But here,
Yamamiya gets the takedown, Josh.
A nice double leg executed by Yamamiya, getting the fight onto the ground.
Both fighters still in the clinch, but nearing the ropes, and a leg kick by Inagaki. And another leg kick to the face, but it looks like Yamamiya managed to grab a hold of that leg and goes in for the takedown.
Yeah, nice high kick by Inagaki, but really with not a lot of steam on it, was able to unfortunately get reversed by Yamamiya. Still fighting it out with only seconds remaining in this bout.
Both fighters should be giving it all they have, and they do. This fight is over, and the decision will go to the judges, who decides Inagaki. This is the victor, and Josh, Yamamiya, he's maybe, I didn't see what he did, but perhaps he should have thrown more punches in there.
I think this was an example of a young fighter starting out within Pancrase, not quite finding his groove yet, and Inagaki using his experience and ring savvy to this point to control most of the fight and score the more meaningful shots. I don't think you can really hold it against Yamamiya, losing against a veteran like Inagaki, but this is a far cry from what we'll see out of Yamamiya in the future.
All right, when we come back, one of the toughest fighters ever to step into the Pancrase ring, Manabu Yamada.